are encouraged. And then we also have a program on supporting students and families when we're going through testing. Jessica LaFoy has been with Maryville City Schools for many years now. She was with me in the Family Resource Center for a while. She is now the school counselor over at San Houston Elementary School. So some of you may know or recognize her from there. But she has a lot of expertise to lend. She also has 3 children at home that she can experiment with and test all these theories out. But I have been in her classrooms before, and I think you're really going to be entertained and enjoy all the information that she has to share.
That's my goal, to entertain.
Yes, take it away.
Thanks. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Jessica LaFoy. I know I heard Blount County and Alcoa, a big mixture, right? Well, I'm glad you're here, truly. What'd you say?
Eagles.
Oh, Eagles and Yay, that's happy. Oh, look, this is happy. My clicker's not working all of a sudden.
Gotcha.
Oh, will you play with this, Mads, and see if you can fix it? Okay, Deb said, hey, will you come talk to kids about test anxiety? So I'm the school counselor at Sam Houston with another school counselor. I'm so grateful we get to have 2 people loving on kids there. When I first started, we didn't talk about test anxiety because it was like, we just take TCAPs and you get really good snacks and then you go fly kites and then you just move on with your day. But now things are a little different. And you can see the 3rd graders when we come back from Christmas break, thank you. You can just see their shoulders start to, and then they start hearing language like, well, when you're in 4th grade, our school goes K through 3, and then we move on to 4. I know everybody's a little different. So the 3rd graders are kind of the leaders in our school. And it's also this like, you gotta do everything right, you know? And so you kind of see them shrugging their shoulders, feeling like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. And you see the weight. They're hearing the language of the teachers. They're feeling the pressure of the teachers. And I want you to hear, as parents, this is the biggest message they need to hear, that they already have what it takes. It's a test. And it feels big because we talk about it a lot, and they prep for these kind of tests in a way that they've never prepped for a spelling test before or a reading, an AR test. But the hanging on them is kind of the message that they hear in their brains. What you can do to combat that is to say, hey, you already have everything you need. You're just showing off how you learn. So that's why I'm calling this. I have what it takes. Okay, what are we doing here? I don't know about you, but I like to know how long the person in front of me is talking. So I'm like, how much longer are you gonna have? So here's kind of what I'm going through. And we'll kind of work through this together. It just helps me. I don't know if it might help you too. This is me. I love school, and school also makes me crazy. Truly crazy. I have been in school my whole life. I decided to give my life's work to being in a school. It's the best place to be. I started out as a special education teacher. I wanted to be with kids in a CDC classroom. The kids that kind of are on the fringes is my favorite place to be. And then I went back to school after my twins were born and wanted to be a school counselor. So went back to grad school. And then last year I thought, oh, I know what I should do. Go back to school. And so I went back to school again. Like I said, love school. I love learning, but it does make me crazy. It was interesting last year to be in school again as like an old person and think like that same pressure. And nobody was telling me to do great, but I was like, I have to make 100s, and to kind of relate that back to my kids now. I am at St. Houston Elementary. Growing up, education was a really big deal. My family put a lot of pressure on making the grades. I remember my dad would be like, hey, tell me about what you talked about at lunch. It was like, what'd you make on your test? Those were the conversations. So you can imagine my brain was wired like that. Let me freeze for a second. When I get nervous, I talk really fast and I stop breathing. So if I have to start breathing, I'll be fine, but just know that. I just heard that. I'm like, you're not breathing, girl. Right. The voice of perfection ethic, like you got to get the grades because that's what your value is. Okay. I put a picture of my kids up here because they make me feel so happy. Henry is a freshman in high school. Hard to believe that. I met Madison when she was a freshman in high school. He just turned 15. He's taller than me. He's wonderful and weird and like the greatest. And he doesn't have a phone, you guys.
Good.
I mean, he doesn't want a phone, which is probably even weirder. And then we have Hayes and Millie. They're in 5th grade. They're 11, and they're at Montgomery Ridge, and they are the greatest kids. I also have the best husband in the world. He's really cute. It's not in this picture. And we just are doing like y'all. We're doing the best we know how to do. And there are many times we go to bed at night, we're like, man, we messed that up. And I'll have to go back to my kids and be like, hey, I messed that up. My parents never did that. But I'll say, I messed that up. I got to try to find this again. Can we figure it out together? So just like y'all, we're doing the best we can do, right? Anxiety can be beautiful. Here's what I mean by that. There are parts of anxiety that are haunting and are weighing on you and do not feel good, but they kind of can turn into this beautiful thing where you become really well organized and you're thinking through processes really well. You're prepared well for things. You're noticing everything that needs to be noticed. Those are not always bad things, but if it's taking over your brain and you're so worried about a test being your identity, you can see how that can get kind of gross. All right, I need to push that mess. Oh, hang on a second. Okay, here's the thing with kids. This morning I was teaching third grade and we're actually about to start the testing anxiety unit. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna go talk to these grown-ups. What do you want me to tell you? And Allison did this. She had something to say. And she said, I want you to tell them just to tell their kids to expect that it's gonna be hard. I thought, well, that's smart. We don't need to kind of sugarcoat it like, you're gonna be fine. Just tell them it's gonna be hard. It's probably gonna be harder than something you've done. It's probably gonna be something that will be familiar to how you prepared, but it is going to be hard. Expect it. I thought that was a good word. Another kid said, tell them that it's hard and fun. So you kind of do this test and you do the grind. And then like at our school, we go fly kites after, which is kind of just a tradition and it's kind of fun. You get to show off your learning. That's the message that I think it's really helpful to tell kids. It's not like, I mean, do y'all remember what you made on your TCAP?
Didn't grow up here. No.
Like, I have no idea. I have no idea what I made, but I did get to show off what I learned. Those teachers have well prepared them. Do we not have the greatest teachers in our schools, you guys? They have prepared them well and they just get to show off their learning. They get to put their skills to work. They have worked all this time. What grades do we have? Do we have second graders, third graders, and the third kids? Third. Okay. Third. I'm talking specifically about like the tests that are coming, but you could really put this to anything. I mean, I could put it to myself. You've worked all this time. Your teachers have purposely taught you what you need to know. Now you get to show it off, you know? And then here's the other thing that I think really helps some third graders that I've talked with. When you do well in your TCAPs, it just kind of helps your school get recognized in a different way. It shows off your learning. It shows off your teachers' amazingness. And then also like it can turn into other things, other resources that your school gets. So it's not pressure, but it's just kind of a way to like contribute to your learning. I kind of think that's kind of neat for some kids to hear. And let's say this together. Test. Let's say this together. Test. Oh, yours. It's not. And that was funny for me to be in grad school last year again and be like, why do I think, who is looking over my shoulder to see if I'm making an A on this test? Like I'm a grown up. And I still felt it. It's not who you are. It's not what you're made of. It's just showing off your learning on time I shoot. This is appropriate. And I think that's the message. You have what it takes and it's not your identity. It's you will go on from this and you're still you and you're still your greatness. Okay, this is a self-portrait of me. Here. Can you push that button back there, Mads? I want you to listen to this. It doesn't work if you can skip it, but listen carefully to when I was talking about anxiety can be beautiful, but see what you notice.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there might not be. Yeah. I tested it to see if it would work, but I didn't test it for the sound. All right, basically this is Inside Out 2. And a lot of school counselors use this movie. I don't use it a lot, but I did. When this came out and watched it with my kids, I wanted to be like, preach, 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 preach. But they added this new character, Anxiety, and you can kind of see, but even the body language, that you can stop it now. That is like, I'm here, you know? And they've had a lot of people kind of working on this movie to research what anxiety looks like in kids. But basically, in that clip, it's saying like, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and this, and do you need this, and you need this? And then they say, where do you want me to go? And then she picks up like 1,000 suitcases, like luggage, well prepared. There's beauty in anxiety. It isn't always yucky and terrible and hangs on you. But if we get out of balance with it, I'm not breathing, hang on. To get out of balance with it, that's where we can get in the tricky place. Make sense to y'all? Have y'all seen Inside Out too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's cute. Okay, this is part of the lesson we teach our kids. Put your hand up like this. Put your hand like this. Put your hand like this. This is your brain. This is probably a little smaller than your brain. It's probably how big my brain is. This is the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, and the hippocampus. Say amygdala.
Amygdala.
Prefrontal cortex. Hippocampus. Why is the hippocampus an elephant? Why shouldn't it be a hippo? Well, here's why. That's the part of your brain that talks about, that locks in memory. that keeps all those good things. We teach this lesson to kids so that when they feel that like, we're going, there's a reason this is going on. We talk about the amygdala, the guard dog. That's the part of your brain that's saying fight, flight, or freeze. Do something about it. If a tornado is barreling to your house and you're standing on the front porch being like, what a beautiful day, probably not a great decision. It's there on purpose. It's to keep us safe. We talk to kids about this when we say, hey, if you are out of balance with your amygdala and your guard dog is screaming at you all the time about tests, let's talk about it. It's on purpose if there's a tornado. It doesn't need to be screaming if you're just getting a test in front of you. Because again, do y'all remember your teacup scores? They're important. We need them, but we've got to be in balance with how we react. So and I know a lot of school counselors are doing this. We're teaching kids like what stress really is. What is the purpose? What is happening? What do we need to know? And then what can we just say like, hey, forget about that. We're okay. When we're talking about stress with kids, we want them to know why it's happening and not just like it's a grown up telling them what's going on. It kind of makes them feel like they have ownership of it. Make sense? I've never used a clicker before and I feel really like, right, the clicker. Okay, but here's the good news. Don't we need good news? Everyone has anxiety and worry sometimes. My guess is because you're here, you're a really great parent. And you may feel these same things that your kid may feel. Anybody? And so sometimes for me, even when I'm looking at my kids and they're telling me something that I struggle with too, I'm like, oh no, you got it. But we all have those feelings. We all have anxiety and worry sometimes. And so I think to normalize that with kids, it's really helpful. You're not alone. You're not weird. You're not by yourself in this. This is something that's a kid problem and a grown-up problem, but we can work on it. It doesn't have to consume you. And then secondly, the good news is if you're having a lot of anxiety, there are things that you can do to help. Your schools have school counselors that are awesome and teachers that are awesome. So I have some resources up here. If you want to take some of those, there's some, one of these is like a chart that says like, okay, here's some signs of test anxiety, specifically test anxiety. If your kid isn't hitting a lot of these, take it to your kid's teacher and be like, hey, I'm a little worried. I bet they won't be surprised. Their kids' teachers know them. Their school counselors too will know them as well. And I think it's also helpful to teach kids to ask for help. You don't have to just be alone in that burden of like that churning of your tummy turning and being worried when that paper hits your desk. Ask somebody, tell somebody at school, I'm kind of freaking out. I need help on this. It's a beautiful lesson to teach them when they're little because then we do it when we get older. I don't know about you, but it's not always easy for me to ask for help. If we teach them that when they're little, think about how cool that can turn out, right? Okay. Oh, look at us. We're halfway through. Thank you guys for being here. I'm grateful. Okay, so here's another thing that's really helpful. When we give them language about what the anxiety is, it can kind of make you feel empowered. So like last year I was doing this experiment and I went to the nurse when we were teaching this lesson to third grade. And I went to the nurse and I said, tell me how many kids have been in the clinic today. And it was like 2 million. And I was like, okay, tell me what the ailments are. And it was, what would your guess be?
Tummy ache.
Tummy ache. And so I said to my third graders, like, do you think everybody had a tummy bug? And they'd be like, no, they know. Lots of ice packs, but tummy aches because they were feeling worried. And so I think to help kids know like that tummy ache is signaling, it's your guard dog saying, hey, something's off, but let's not go straight to the red. Let's kind of figure out what we need to do here so that we can kind of work through this to kind of help us get back down. These are some just symptoms that happen. If you're an anxious person, you might have some of these too. In kids, I see a lot of raising their hand and being like, can I go to the bathroom? They don't need to go to the bathroom, but they're feeling it. They need to get out of there. It doesn't feel safe. It feels like it's not a good place to be. They just have to go. The shutdown where it's like, okay, we're going to start this project and you can just see them kind of shut down. That's kind of like the freeze where it feels like it's too big. It's too much. You can't do this. In my own kids, I can see sometimes like they just kind of, I can see their brain kind of like they're with me, but they're not with me. Does that make sense to y'all? Somebody tell me what you see in your own kids. Like what's a sign to you that you know that they're not feeling great?
Little distracted.
Oh yeah, good one. Anybody have tummy ache stuff? Oh yeah. Yeah, like save me from this. Yeah, that's a good one. Anybody else?
Mine just kind of shuts down, like he just gets real quiet and to himself, but yeah.
Internal thinking, yeah. also normal, right? But it is that response to that guard dog going like, hey, you're not safe. We know they are. But to be able to talk through this with them and say, these are kind of the things that could happen, and you may think you're sick, but actually, this is something else that's going on in your body. This might be a helpful thing to talk about. Okay, what do I do with all this? I've given you a few strategies for your kids, but definitely take some of these resources. I use books a lot. It's called like bibliotherapy, but I use books a lot, and these are some really good books about anxiety in general. You're welcome to take a picture and see if you want to get them from the library or order them. And then I brought some just paper resources too. This one is just about testing anxiety specifically. It's really just anxiety, but it triggers when you get a piece of paper on your desk, right? And then on this side, it talks about anxiety specifically in school. I love this resource. It's one of my favorite. It's the size of the reaction and the size of the problem. Have y'all heard this? It's kind of this language we've talked a lot about in school lately. If you are reacting like you have a hurricane coming towards your house, but the problems down here are out of balance. So how are we going to make sure that we are reacting in a way that's kind of the same level of the problem? And then also this is like, if you geek out about brain stuff, to get this one, if you don't, pass it. But it's like the cognitive triangle, how thoughts, feelings, and actions connect, and how we can stop those racing thoughts that then cause tummy aches, that then cause me to shut down, how we can kind of interrupt that process. And then again, when we were growing up, nobody talked about breathing. Do you remember somebody being like, you need to breathe? Or like, do your 5-finger breathing. Do you remember any of that? I don't. Nobody told us to breathe. But there has been so much research about like teaching kids like to put that pause in there. Like I have to do. Breathe. And so here are just a few things. What I do with all this. Notice it and name it. When you're looking at those kind of signals in your body, your physical signals in your body, there it is. That's not, oh, I see you. It's coming. I'm starting to feel it. Notice it and name it. That's what it is. And then you can kind of figure out a strategy next. Breathing, like I talked about. Here's one of them. Breathe in for 3. Hold it. Breathe out for 3. I teach my kids this one where we do a roller coaster. Breathe in and breathe out. Sometimes this is more stressful for kids. Breathe in. We do hot chocolate breathing. Hold your cup of hot chocolate and breathe in the chocolatey goodness and then cool it off. There's tons of these. And they're cutesy patootsy, but kids aren't gonna do this in the middle of their test, but they can do this on their desk or at night when they're not sleeping. They can do it on their tummy. Breathing is kind of a big deal. Practicing and replacing thoughts, that kind of will help you with this cognitive piece. I've taught a few of my friends and even my own kids that when you start hearing those thoughts in your brain and you start feeling those physical things, okay, physical things, check, my brain's starting to swirl, check, naming it, there it is. Then taking that stinking thing out, Velcro it out of your brain and replace it with what's true. My mom doesn't remember her TCAP score. Probably gonna be okay. Take it out. The voice of your teacher who's doing amazing work, but sometimes kids hear it as like doom and gloom. I'm gonna fail, not gonna go on to the next grade. Take that out and replace it with, yeah, I've done great all year. This is just a test. Replacing the thoughts with good thoughts with negative thoughts. I use this in my classroom a lot. Like I'll have a friend write something on, these are on Amazon, I think they're like $6, but I'll write some like a negative thought and we just shred it on down. Bye, you're not here anymore. And then we replace it. It's just another way to kind of give a visual of like, you are not welcome. I'm gonna put the truth back in. And then finally grounding. Okay, I've got a confession. So like, I've taught kids this forever, where you smell 5 things, look at 4 things. This is like a buzz. Like nobody taught this 10 years ago, right? But now everybody knows. Okay, so I've taught kids this forever. Or here's the one I love. It's like find 5 red things, find 4 blue things, find 3 green things. Well, I had to read at church a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden I was like, here I go. I'm not breathing, and I had to I choked in front of the whole church, like reading. I'm like, I think I'm gonna die. And I did this before the next time I had to read. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put my practice to work. And I did it and I looked for 5 things. And guess what? It worked. And it took all that crazy out of me. I started feeling myself not breathing. So that technique of grounding really does work. And it's kind of cutesy. You can do it in a kid-friendly way that feels kind of fun. But these are some things that you can actually put into practice and application. Make sense to you? Okay, I think that's it, you guys. I think we did it. Oh, gosh. Okay, here's one more. We're just gonna keep going. Okay. I love to play the catastrophe game. You might do this naturally. But I'll have a friend that says like, okay, well, what if I don't know the answer? Okay, what's worse? Well, what if I cry about it? Okay, well, what's worse? Well, what if I like throw up because I ate pizza that day? Okay, well, what's worse than that? Well, what if I don't get to go to 4th grade and then my mom gets really mad at me and then I don't get any presents and then okay, well, what's worse than that? And then they kind of go, oh, this is crazy. Like you kind of just take them to the end of the road and then they go, oh, that's not reasonable. That's not really gonna happen. And then we kind of go back, okay, well, like what's really gonna happen? Well, I could cry. Yeah, you could. It's hard. What do you think would happen? Well, my teacher would like probably give me plans. Yeah. Because they care about you. And then what? You probably stop crying eventually. Yeah. And then you get to go fly kites. So do you see what I'm saying? If you take them to the end, they're like, oh, this is silly. And then bring them on back. Yeah. We did it. Everybody? Do you want to take questions now or later, Deb? Now?
That'd be fun.
Probably won't know the answer, but that's fine. Tell me about you guys. Why are you here?
Knowing I had a kiddo that needed to have a plan so that he could go to 4th grade because he deserved to go to 4th grade. I now have a kid who doesn't have a plan. And then his winter test flaked out and put him down low. So I'm just here what's different.
Okay, I do wanna, I thought about this last night going to bed. If you're really worried about it, there are universal accommodations for every single kid. This is school counselor talk, but there's universal accommodations for every single kid who pick up a pencil. You don't have to have anything special, an IP, or nothing, including testing in a small group, including they can read it aloud to themselves in a different group. Now, some kids don't like it because they want to be in their classroom home, but some kids don't care. So if you have these things where you're like, I know my kid would do better, fill in the blank, talk to their teacher. They probably already know because teachers are so awesome. They already know. But those are not like special VIP things. It's for every kid in the state of Tennessee. So that might be something to talk about too.
We figure we're okay. The test glitched, but the teacher had never seen the test glitch before.
Yeah, that's like Arla. Good job.
But of course it then flagged him and I had to go to school and sign a thing and all that.
Oh, because you like, yeah, okay. Oh, good job, both of you, good job. Yeah, what else? Oh, what else are you guys thinking? What's going on in your brain?
It's our first time taking TCAPs, so my son's in 3rd grade also, and I mean, this is my first time as a parent too, dealing with TCAPs, and I already have anxiety. So I'm medicated for it, so it's like,
Yeah, good
you
job.
know, I don't want my anxiety to rub off on it.
Yeah.
Son either, so.
I mean, I think that's it. Hey, you have what it takes. You have what it takes too. Both of you. And Ash is gonna talk a little bit about like, practical things and how to lead up to it. You don't wanna like all of a sudden start a brand new routine and like give him a chicken nugget breakfast every morning when he never had that before. But he has what it takes. It's gonna be cool to watch how they can show their brain off, you know? You're both doing a good job. Yeah, anybody else? What like lands on you from hearing all this?
My girl is very emotional and anxious even about homework. So
How old is she?
she's 8,
Okay, yeah.
like, so
So it's
This
like
is-
for you, this is like a every night thing. It's not like just your big thing. Yeah. How do y'all deal with it? Like, what are you talking about?
my husband does most of the homework stuff because he is way better at that than me.
Yeah.
So I let them
Are
have
you the
that.
punching bag?
No, I'm anxious too, so we just gonna ramp each other. up.
Yeah. I get that.
We need help to ground us both.
I get that. Yeah. And so every night, have you found anything that works or anything that you've tried and you're like, that, I'll never do that again?
Just me not doing it with her.
Hey, that's, yeah.
So
Yeah.
far, that's what's working for us.
I'm gonna say this and it probably,
He does so good.
hope I don't get fired, but I think if you're just like trudging through homework for an hour a night with an 8-year-old, you've got to talk to her teacher. How long are you spending on homework?
Well, luckily, that was only just the last semester, and
Okay.
then like this half, we aren't doing homework, so that's been a lot better.
Like at all?
Just like they can do extra math and stuff like that.
Okay, well,
So-
still, I'll still stand by that.
Yeah.
I think so much of it is like communicate with your kid's teacher. Again, these are the people who are with your kids all the time, and they love them and they know them. And we say this to parents a lot, like, if you tell us, we can help. But we have parents all the time who come in there. We are in a battle in our house every night over.
I didn't know how to help them, so.
Exactly. And so we're like, hey, cap it off at 20 minutes, like set a timer, and then both of y'all just like high five and go do something else, you know? I can't speak for your teacher or your kid or your school, but it's really like, I guess the bigger point is tell the teachers. If we don't know, we can't help, but I can tell y'all just being here, you care about your kids, so. Okay, one more, anything else? Oh, yes, Miss Kelson.
Well, I have a similar daughter who's emotional, like stress and anxiety shows emotionally. Will you talk about the reaction of like the hurricane?
Yeah.
Yes,
Or,
I
like-
want that.
Yeah, I love it. It's so many words for kids, but like it gives you language, you know? And I printed it in color, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of, a few years ago, I went to this professional development and I heard another school counselor talking to someone and I was like, oh, this is really helpful. The size of the problem versus the size of the reaction. So like, think about okay, here's a good one. Think about when your kid was little and you were like grinding and you're trying to make everybody lunch. And you cut the sandwich the wrong way. Anybody else feel that?
Yes.
And you're like, here's a beautiful handmade lunch that I just went to the grocery store and everything's organic and look at me. And then they have a total meltdown. Because you cut the sandwich. Okay.
I have a 2-year-old too, so. Okay.
Well, I have a 15-year-old and it feels similar still, not sandwich. Okay, so like, okay, so look at this. Let's start with the reaction. Out of control. That's when you're like skyrocketing. You have lost it. You're watching that tantrum. Annalie, who would never do this because she's a precious cherub, I kind of was like melting on the floor, like I can't do it. Okay. Then you're working it down. Okay, I feel angry. You're frustrated. Then you're going to annoying. I feel upset or distressed. You're going to, I've got this. I'm frustrated. I'm flustered. I'm nervous, but I can work through it. This is when they're still in their brain. After this, they're not listening to you reason with them. They're not listening to be like, can we please therapize through this moment? No, like in these moments, you just say, I'm gonna walk away and I'll come back. Because their amygdala, their guard dog is barking so loud, you're not in their world. And then, this one is like, hey, we're okay. Just a sandwich, move on. Well, then the way I talk with kids about it is I say, okay, if your problem is here, you dropped your pencil on the floor or you broke your pencil and you react here. And this is where you live all the time. Is it healthy? That's kind of the word I use. Is it healthy? Does it feel good? Oh, they know that. No. Well, how can we work ourselves from here? And what can we do before you go to skyrocket to the top, you know? And so that's kind of what we talk about, Rachel, is like, emotions are not bad. Being angry is not bad. We're all angry, but what you do with it is what matters. So talk to her, maybe I'll come to your house, but, hey, this is no big deal. Do you think this is as big of a deal as comparative problem? No. Okay, well, you're acting the same way. It can kind of give them some relevance of like how your body's exploding. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Great, I love this one. I'll tell you guys, these are great books. Come on, Ashley. These are great books too. They're all about kind of worry. Here's like a specific one on anti-test anxiety. Julia Cook. And then this is one of my other favorites. It's a what ifs. It kind of talks about like when we do that, what if, and then it kind of spins it. Well, there's some good what ifs. Well, what if it goes great? And what if you like nail your TCAP? And what if you like get the best snack in the world? See what I'm saying? Okay, thank you guys.
And a lot of what she's talking about also applies for the older kids who are not doing the TCAPs per se, but are taking end of course exams
There you
or
Yeah.
semester exams or AP exams in high school. Obviously, it's a different way you talk to your kids based on an 8-year-old versus a 15, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
The same practices can apply.
Yeah, you have what it takes.
Yeah.
No matter what you're taking. And us too, we can say that to ourselves. We have what it takes. Okay, tag Ashley. Hey, I am Ashley Deatherage. I am the Director of Health Services and Coordinated Schools Health for Alcoa City Schools. Been a nurse for 13 years. I've been in pediatrics my entire career. I've been in the school setting for 7 years.
I, however, am not a teacher, so I may not be as interactive as Miss Kim, but I will try.
You'll probably breathe.
I hope I breathe. But I also want you guys to know that I'm a mom of three. I have 3 kids, one who is 7, and I also have twins, which might have been a requirement to be here today. Who are 5, one who has Down syndrome. So I am a real mom in the real world with real kids. So by no means, we're gonna talk about nutrition. By no means do I have any of this perfect. So I don't want you to think like I'm coming up here to tell you you're doing bad and this is how you need to do it. Because we still have goldfish and Pop-Tarts at my house and suckers and Kool-Aid. And so it is, I live in the real world. So I just want you to know that. But I do hope that I can share some positive nutrition changes that you can make in your house to help your kids' brain grow and develop. And I do want to say that, like Jessica said, if you guys are showing up to something like this, you're already doing an amazing job at pointing your kids in the right direction. So we want to talk a little bit about the brain and how we fuel the brain. So why do we need to fuel the brain? Why does it need food? Your brain never turns off. We obviously think about with our brains, when I'm standing up here talking, my brain is working. When I am sitting at school, when I'm at my job, my brain is working. But when you go to sleep, your brain is still working. It's controlling your involuntary muscle movement, so your breathing, your heartbeat, your digesting, all those kinds of things. So the brain is doing a lot of work all the time. So your brain needs fuel, but it really is important about what kind of fuel you put in the brain, because you want it to work really well. So diets that are high in refined or what we call processed sugars can lead to harmful cognitive function. According to Harvard Medical School, diets high in refined sugar can cause brain inflammation, which speeds up cellular aging in the brain. So it makes your brain age faster, not get smarter faster, but decline faster. Because as you're aging, you know, your body is declining. So it does speed up the aging process. It can damage the hippocampus that she talked about. That's crucial for memory. So if you're thinking about this related to testing, if you're damaging the hippocampus and you're not remembering things, it's going to be harder to perform on that test. It can lead to insulin resistance. Insulin is a hormone in your body that helps your body use sugar correctly. If your body is resisting that insulin, then you are not using sugar correctly. So then you just have a bunch of sugar that you can't do anything with. And then sugar spikes can cause, you spike and then you crash. So you are leading to anxiety, you're leading to fatigue and impaired focus. So your brain does need that fuel all the time. So what should we be looking for? We want nutrient-dense foods. Foods high in antioxidants, minerals, vitamins, fats, and proteins to give it energy and help it function well and to help your kid be successful. So I want to give you, well, this is some examples of food that we're looking at. You want to look at healthy fats like your salmon, tuna, olive oil, avocado, nuts, antioxidants. Think of like colorful fruits, berries, spinach, kale, tomatoes. Dark chocolate was on there and I don't know where it went, but dark chocolate. Whole grains, things like whole grain bread, brown rice, whole grain pasta, lean proteins, chicken, turkey, eggs. Look for lean beef, Greek yogurt. That doesn't mean that you can't have sugar, but we want to moderate how much we have and try to lean into these healthier foods instead. So, sorry y'all, I told you I'm not a teacher, I'm not.
You're doing great.
I should have numbered my papers. What does this mean for you? Let's look at some practical things and ways that you can put this into practice. Consistency is key. So don't dump a brand new diet on your child in the middle of April or May just because it's testing week. You're going to set them up for failure. They're not going to want to eat what you're putting in front of them. They're going to be more anxious. Their routine is going to be thrown off. So focus on what can you do. You can give them 3 meals a day. If all they'll eat is a Pop-Tart that morning, okay, we've put something in their body, because if you go to school with nothing in your body, you're not gonna be able to take that test. I know at testing time, a lot of times at school, we hear, eat a good breakfast, eat a good breakfast. But don't forget the other meals during the day. I don't know if we have a lot of middle schoolers in here, but I feel like our middle schoolers right now are notorious for not eating lunch. They don't want what's in the cafeteria, they don't want this or that, but emphasizing, hey, we gotta eat something. And let's do it 3 times a day and try to make it solid so that our brain can function 24/7. When you're at home in the evening, making sure they get a good meal at dinner time, if it's not dinner time because your kid has all the things going on, find a time and get some food in them. Like I said, I live in the real world. I know that we all are not home at 5:30 p.m. to eat dinner, but trying to make sure that you're encouraging that. Hydration is super important. And by hydration, I do mean water. We want to get lots of water in our kids. A good rule of thumb is about half of their weight in ounces. So if your kid weighs 100 pounds, you want to get about 50 ounces in a day. However, I do understand that there are medical conditions that might change that. So please don't go by that if your doctor says something different, but that's just a good estimate if you have a typical kiddo. And while I'm on hydration, energy drinks are just not good for your kiddos because, like I said earlier, the sugar highs. They're gonna come into school, maybe they are a little more pepped up and they're ready to go, but they're gonna crash and it's gonna increase the anxiety that they have about that test. And the caffeine can also make their heart rate increase, which is gonna make them feel even more anxious because their heart is doing this, whether they mean for it to or not, they're gonna feel worse, because if your heart is racing, you just don't feel good. And then healthy sleep habits. If we do all the grounding that Jessica talks about and the good things, and we eat everything, but we don't sleep at night, then all the good things we've done, they're just not going to, it's not gonna be enough. We need to make sure that our kids get rest. And again, I know we're talking about testing, but these are good practices to have all school year, because if you change their routine and you say, tonight you have to go to bed at 8 o'clock because it's TCAP time, then we all know the fight that is about to happen in your house. So if we spring it on them at the last minute, that's not gonna be successful. So maybe we start tonight and we say, okay, we're gonna go to bed 15 minutes earlier, or we're gonna turn the screens off 15 minutes earlier, whatever you need to do, that small change that you can do to make it consistent so that when we get to TCAP season, we are ready, or AP exams or whatever they have. Let's try to be consistent. And what are some things that you can do at home? Start small, very small changes, like I said. It can take up to 20 exposures to a food before a kid will accept that. My middle son, my one with Down syndrome, went to food therapy, and they say 20 times, but I promise you it was way more than 20 times before we could get him moved off of just veggie straws and baby foods. It takes a long time sometimes, and that's okay. Even if you're just exposing them and they don't eat it, that's fine. Expose them, start small. Don't feel like you're a failure if they don't try it the first time. Preferred food. One thing that I do at home is make sure that my kids always have something on their plate that they're going to eat, especially if I'm trying a new recipe or something new, whether that is, we've got strawberries on the plate tonight, we have green beans, we have potato chips, we have mac and cheese, whatever it is. I know there's something there they can eat, so that plate is not super intimidating for them of like, whoa, I don't want any of this. Now, my daughter will tell me that all of it is gross, even if her preferred food is on there, but eventually we eat something. But knowing that I'm putting, like I said, making sure they eat something. So having the preferred food alongside of that new food is a great way to start. Divided plates have been amazing for my littlest because she's so picky. So I have her preferred food in one slot and the new food in another slot. So they're not touching, but she's getting exposed, nutrient dense. So try to, as you're going through, again, don't drop a new diet, but try maybe a new meal tonight. Wait a few days and then try something different. Add it in small increments, but try to be intentional about what you're putting on that plate. Model behavior. This is huge. If they see you doing it, especially if they're still in that young elementary adult people pleasing way, they're going to want to maybe do what you do. Sometimes they don't, because what do we know? We're just mom and dad. But if they see you doing this, they're gonna know that it's important to you to put the right foods in your body. So maybe they will follow suit, maybe they won't, but at least you're trying. And then change the small things. So what is something on your plate tonight that you could change? We started with, spaghetti. Can we change the noodles to just whole wheat? Everything else is the same, but we've added whole wheat in. Do that for a while. And then, okay, can we change the ground beef to ground turkey? Just something that you can change. Again, small changes. Don't try to just drastically jump in. The last thing I have for you.
Yeah,
I brought you some Deathbridge kid approved meals that we do at home. Just some things, these are not like, I'm not a nutritionist. These are just simple, healthy things that we do, ways that I can get some more whole grains in my kids or lean proteins. These are all things that my kid eats. There are 2 breakfast options there that are like those meal prep if you have time on Sunday or Saturday to have them ready for your week, because I know how crazy mornings can be. And then there's some lunchable ideas, like how you can add some things in their lunches to get them to try new things, but it's hopefully still pretty easy. So, yeah, that's it.
Any questions for Ashley or thoughts or comments?
Yes, ma'am.
My son is not a breakfast person at all.
Yes.
Even his favorite, like strawberry milkshake Pop-Tart is not hitting him anymore. And he'll go weeks without eating breakfast at all, even on his days off. So he's not eating until like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Is there anything that you would recommend to try to incorporate something else just so he has something in his stomach?
So it's what I would do, because my son with Down syndrome is kind of like that. He will, right now it's chocolate fudge Pop-Tarts is about the only thing, unless I get that Pediasure, that I can get in him. And a lot of times I feel like I'm throwing mashed potato at the wall until I find the potatoes that stick. Can he take a snack to school or something that maybe about 9 o'clock if he did feel like eating?
I believe he can. I'm pretty sure whatever period that he's in, his teacher's pretty laid back on snacks and stuff in the class, but I know like his ELA teacher is pretty strict on that.
Right,
And I'm not sure what period that lines up with.
right.
But I mean, he'll come home sometimes and just tell me like he's so hungry by the time that he gets to the lunchroom. And I'm trying to incorporate, like go with, to the grocery store with me, pick out whatever,
stuff.
something that you want. But sometimes he's just in this, he's going through puberty too. So like, he's just in this funk right now where he's just like, he'll pick something, he'll stay like religiously on it. And then after that, he's kind of like me, he just doesn't want anything to do with it.
I mean, honestly, just trying, like I said, just trying to have options, but I mean, you're already doing that. I wish that I had like the magic solution. Miss Sarah might have something.
I have 6th grade as well. He has peanut butter toast every day.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all he has. 1 piece of toast, smears peanut butter on it, grabs a glass of something to drink, and that's what he has. Sometimes I can throw a banana at him too,
Okay.
but
I can try that, or I can try the smoothie.
Yeah.
Yeah, drink.
Yeah.
Would
Then
you
you
drink
get the
something?
I think so. He's tried like one of my protein shakes
Yeah,
before, like
yeah.
the Fairlife, and he seemed to like that, but he's still kind of like on the fence.
So with that, and my son went through the same thing, but he was very underweight too, so we were trying to do it. We would put a scoop of ice cream in the Ensure or the Pediasure and blend it up like a smoothie, because he's got a little bit, I'm like I said, he was underweight, he was very small, the little extra scoop of ice cream
But
isn't.
still,
bad for
I mean, that's,
anything in the
you're
morning.
getting
Like,
something
he's
in
got
those.
the Ensure,
Yeah.
that extra. Yeah. So like that, we still kind of resort to that, like when he would do testings, like that's his special treat during testing.
Yeah.
Is so he can get a better breakfast, because he's still not a breakfast.
Cause you are
person.
not a bad parent by putting a scoop of ice cream in there.
Yeah.
You are a good parent because you are trying to put something
And it
in
helps that he
him.
likes mint chocolate chips, so it's like a stronger mint flavor, it kind of like hides the flavor of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but kids are also hard. And eating, I feel like it's a hard battle.